Hi everyone, this is Chiran here. So in this video we're going to be a very important video because if you see this week our National Security Advisor Ajit Doval has announced a very important thing to our Indian Army. What he has said is he has advised Indian Army to be prepared for a very long-term war between India and China, which is expected very early. And one more update is Indian Army has requested with Indian government for six more advanced satellite that is going to be specifically allocated for Indian Army for sometimes, because even though India is having already a couple of satellite which is specially allocated for army purpose, which is AMI satellite and RI satellite, they need still more advanced satellite to monitor the Chinese activities that has been happening between the border. Why it is very important to know whether the fight between India and China, it's gonna be a world beginning of a World War III, or it's gonna be just a small scale or medium scale war between the two countries. So why it is very important to know, because if you know, China is the world number one population country versus India is the now world number second population country. And one more thing, China is the third largest army in the world, and India is the fourth largest army in the world. So these are the major, if two major countries is fighting, obviously it's like one third of the world total population. So almost if you see around 250 to 60 crores, which is like 2.5 to 2.6 billion population, is coming from these two countries. So obviously world the countries cannot be just observing this and act as a third party role in this issue. So in this video we're going to discuss about so many small things, and which is very important, and we're going to see those in detail. And obviously I would request not to skip this video. If you want, you can skip the other video, but this video is going to be a very important video, so please don't skip this video. Please watch till the end. So we all know this issue has started becoming serious from June 15, which the attack happened for the Indian Army, which is between the two countries' army in the border. So immediately after that fight, so what Modi, our Indian Prime Minister, has announced is, if you see, he has said very clearly the sacrifice of these 20 soldiers will not be unanswered. So this is a statement which is very much clearly made by our Modi ji. So if you can see, even the same statements was announced in the previous attack, which when we did a surgical strike between India and Pakistan, he has proved that his statement is becoming true. But it was very easy to attack on Pakistan because it's a very growing country, and also comparatively it's very small size between the army if you compare Pakistan and Indian army. But this will not be the case if we gonna fight back directly with China. Obviously it will be a loss for both the countries. Both the countries will suffer almost equal amount of drawbacks, like whether the economic loss or soldiers death, whatever it is, it's gonna be almost equal. So that is the reason here the strategy which India is following is the second mover strategy. India is playing the second mover strategy because of several reasons. Because no other world country should blame that India has started the war. If you ask a question, if India don't want a war, then why they want to play a second mover strategy? This is because this war is not being initiated by Indian government or Indian army. This war has been tagged with Indian army by Chinese people or Pakistan people. So India is in situation where they don't need a war. If suppose they are like pressuring on us, obviously we are ready to take this as a war. So that is the situation which India is playing. Even if you see, this is not the first time Chinese or Pakistan people has been in this kind of territorial acquisition kind of activities. This is not the first time. There are around 600 times that till now Chinese people have been occupying, like they'll come for 20 or 30 kilometers acquisition, and after a discussion or stage 2 of discussion, they'll go some 10-15 kilometers. That 50% again they capture. Like this they have been coming forward and backward, coming forward and a little bit backward. This kind of activities they are doing from the very beginning stage. But if we are being so patiently for 600 times around, why this time we are showing very aggression? Because this none of the time has been any of the army people are affected, or there is also a saturation point. But because if you see this time around 20 soldiers has been killed, that is a major issue. And also there is a saturation point because of this Chinese people untrustworthy behavior. Every time they have been occupying and releasing bit of a land, this kind of, there is a saturation point as well for that. And other major reason is you might have heard about that CPEC project. This project is almost been like 60-70% is been completed. If you still delay on this kind of acquisition if we show if we are not showing any opposition for this kind of acquisition, obviously we might lose that whatever Pakistan occupied the Kashmir or essentially that line of control, whatever the Chinese occupied land in India in Leh Ladakh, we might lose that land permanently. Because once that road has been completed, so the world will announce that as an international trade road. Because then no country can test or we can not we don't have any chance to get into argument that that is our country. So India will lose complete control. That is the major reason India is taking very seriously on this issue this time. So this is a point of view why they need a clash between, or they need a solution between this border issue. But if you come to the point of view of China, why Chinese need war badly? Because before going, I'll make a statement very much clear. Chinese people, they don't want a very huge war with India, because India is not a major threat for. As I was saying, India is never a major threat for Chinese. They have America or many other countries to be as a major threat. Chinese people want this mid size or small scale sized war with India, because they want to divert their citizen towards this, because they are facing so many internal issues. Like they want Tibetan countries to be announced as a separate individual country, and they want Hong Kong, which they want to separate from China. And also there is a Muslim community people who has been tortured very brutally from Chinese communism government. So there are so many things. And also if you see, there are recently so many floods because of the heavy rain, and the Three Gorges Dam which is in a critical stage. So all because of this, Chinese people has lost their interest or trust in the communism government which is happening. So to divert this issue, they wanted a small scale war between India and China, so that the Chinese people will turn this side, and there will be a pressure reduced in the government side. What the Chinese government or Chinese army started doing, they started doing certain strategic, because they started taking control or started influencing against the neighboring countries of the India, like Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka. We don't need to say, that is very much visible. There is a relationship between China and Pakistan. In fact, it is very easy to say that Chinese government is started controlling the Pakistan government. So they are, so leaving that aside, what kind of control measures or measures that is taken to influence the other countries like Nepal and to Bangladesh? If you see, Nepal also started sharing including the Indian territories, and shared a new map to UN organization. It is Council, the United Nation Council. So United Nation Council also rejected, one country can't come like this, and they can propose like this. If suppose the border issue, and if new map has to be modified, it has to be a clear-cut statement given from the both the countries. So statement from one country will not be evaluated. United Nation has given this clear-cut statement for the map which has been shared by new map which has been shared by Nepal. And by Bangladesh, how they are trying to control is, they started funding so many projects in Bangladesh, and they started giving around 86% of discount in the taxes for importing the goods and exporting the goods, the trade between Chinese and Bangladesh. And Sri Lanka, there have been so many influences from past 1 decade between Sri Lanka and China. By this way, Chinese government has started taking control, so that they can use this opportunity to fight against India. I just want to make one thing clear is, I just want to explain how Chinese people take control of the other countries, like small countries or developing countries. For this, I will take an example of Sri Lanka. Not only Sri Lanka, this applies for Chinese people. This use this strategy with many of the developing countries and small countries which they can't fight back. For this example, I'll take as a Sri Lanka. What they did is they started investing in Sri Lankan government and Sri Lankan project initially, and they go develop their or start their companies, Chinese companies in their field. What happens whenever you can notice very much clear in this, whenever a Chinese company is being started in other country, they don't take a human resource from the country where they start. They along with the company, they'll take the employee resource as well, human resource as well to the country. They export the human resource as well. They never hire a majority of the people from the domestic place. They even export the human resource as well. So what happens, the company is owned by Chinese, the investment is done by the Chinese, and the investment return will also obviously go for the Chinese people, because major of the human resource will come from the Chinese. So by this way, obviously it will be showcased that the Chinese government has invested so much in the country, but by the end it will be nothing beneficial for the countries like Sri Lanka. The best example for this is like Chinese government has developed a port which is in Sri Lanka. So they have funded a huge amount as a loan, which Sri Lankan government cannot be repaid. So they have taken this port for 99 years of lease, for which is invested by Chinese company and developed by Chinese company, funded by Chinese company. Only thing is Sri Lankan people has taken a loan from Chinese government to develop this port, so which they can't repay. So now they had taken a lease for 99 years from Sri Lanka, which is for free of cost. So this kind of strategy they usually follow. And the second strategy which they specifically following in this situation is they started placing their army in not only between the China and India border. So wherever they share the border like Uttarakhand, Pakistan, Kashmir, everywhere they started placing their troops, so that in this case Indian troops will be diversified, and when it is diversified obviously they'll lose their strength. So this is the strategy which even they started following for this activity from past 1 2 weeks. One more thing which is very important is nowadays we can see that Indian government has been sponsoring and funding very much in a huge amount range for developing an Indian Army, Navy and Air Force. So many people have started questioning there are so many unemployments, there is very backlash in the economic growth. So why we want to fund so much in the Indian Army, which is of unnecessary cost. So my request is kindly don't involve politics in this kind of issue. This is related to national security issue, which is definitely we should not involve political things in this. So if any country wants to be a safe and secure, obviously the security system should be very strong. So obviously we can't go and request with China or Pakistan for the peace, because they will never value if our security system, national security system is weak. If it is weak, obviously they won't listen to us. They'll obviously come and hit with us very badly. And I'll just ask you one question: which country in the world wants to have a economic friendly relationship and want to have a trade with a weak country who is about to break at any time? So no country want to invest in those kind of country. So if that should not be the case, obviously our national security should be very strong. We should be in a situation where we can face anything kind of threat at any moment. So this is just one point which I wanted to mention. So never involve any politics in this kind of national security issues. So we might have a question: if suppose a war begins between India and China, so what is the percentage or what is the chances of that war becoming a World War III? So I would say the chances are very less. So for before understanding that, we need to understand what are the stages of war. Obviously war cannot be in a peak moment at very initial stage itself. If suppose war begins, the war begins with hand-to-hand combat, like using a weaponaries like machine, like rifles, those kind of weaponaries. So the second level will be using a or grenades or bombers, so those kind of things. The third stage will be like using tankers, auxiliaries, those kind of things will be a third stage of war. If suppose that war is not coming to end or coming to peace in that stage, obviously the next stage will be using of aircraft and using a bombers from aircraft, this kind of things, and next stage will be using a navy force as well. The stage where I guess this war might have a potential to change this war as a World War III is like when using of a target locked missile. So not a nuclear bomb missile. There is a difference between target locked missile and nuclear bomb missile. Target locked missile is nothing but one stage below the nuclear missile. So this kind of stage, when it is reached, it will be having a potential threat for converting into a World War III. Or else the other part will be like when this war begins, when the civilians is been affected directly because of this war. So even there, it is having a chances of taking this towards World War III. So apart from this, there is also a third chance where this small war can be initiated as a World War III by either of the world countries that is been supporting either of the countries. So if suppose India and China is involving war, if third country, major country, if taking part in this supporting any of the countries in the war, there is also I can see a chances of this small war is been converted into a third world war. For example, if we can see. Already Japan and USA has been associated with Indian government and Indian army to involve a war against China. They already started doing many war exercises, and also even we can see Australia will also be taking a part and supporting this India in this particular situation. Till now, Indian government or Indian Navy has never allowed any other countries to have their base or their army parade in Indian border or Indian territory. But India has allowed this time for American Army, American Navy, and Japan Navy in a place in Andaman and Nicobar. They are offered. They made an agreement to place their naval ship and those kind of warfare trading in Andaman and Nicobar. There has been so many agreements that has been signed between these countries, especially with Australia, Japan, and America. If you see that American one of the biggest naval aircraft ship Nimitz has been placed near Japan for protecting the borders between China and Japan. So, as said, if this small scale war has a potential chances to be converted as a World War III, if many other major world countries has been involved in this war. And one more important thing is we can see in recent time there is news spreading where Pakistan is preparing for bio war. So people might be thinking this might be a fake news, or they might be developing their own medical thing and they can do a research and R&D thing in their own country. So the point which has to be considered this is they are not doing this research in any of the medical university or their government owned um, R&D labs. So they are doing this research in India, Pakistan Defense Science and Technology Organization. So till now they don't have any kind of advanced lab where they can do this kind of researchers. So this lab is been completely developed and owned by not owned by, completely developed and funded by Chinese government, where they are funding this lab and developing this lab and equipments, and Chinese scientists has been involving in this kind of research. If suppose later after 2 to 3 years of completion of this kind of bacteria were developed by Pakistan, no world government can ask directly for China, because they'll just open their hand and they'll just back out. We just funded this, all completely governed by Pakistan thing. So easily they can back out from this thing. And one more thing which is to be noticed is this is not a kind of virus thing. This is a kind of bacteria which is not new to Earth. They are planning to develop a kind of bacteria which is based from bacteria like Anthrax. So this Anthrax is a very deadly bacteria where it can make bleed of any mammals or any humans by touching that or breathing that. So by bleeding blood, you will be dead very soon. So this is the kind of bacteria which is Anthrax. So based on this Anthrax, they are developing this bacteria, which a new version of that. Okay, guys, this is the things which I just wanted to discuss in this video. If you just thanks for watching the video till now. If you just like the video, just give the thumbs up button, and also don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So please do subscribe for this channel so that the future videos will be getting to your YouTube notifications. Thank you so much. Bye.